I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll do a roll call here. Board Member Grant.
Here.
Board Member Weiser.
Here.
Board Member Henry.
Here.
And Roger Jacks is here, so we do have a quorum. We'll do a call to the audience. The board will listen to any comments from the public, but will not respond except as permitted by Arizona Revised Statute 38-431-01. The board may refer the item to the administration or request to have it placed on a future agenda. I do have one slip that was filled out, Mr. Ron Bear.
Mr. Jacks, members of the board, Ms. Woolsey. I'm here tonight to talk about the parent rights thing that you're discussing on item 7 there. More specifically, the idea that the policy that we have is after the fact, that a parent can exempt themselves from an assignment or the kid from an assignment. So first I want to talk as a parent, as a teacher, then I want to talk as a parent because I'm both. So I want you to put yourself in a classroom. You're teaching a lesson and you have 15 of your 35 kids that go, oh, I don't have to do that assignment. My mom's going to exempt me. What are you going to do? Because now you have no control over those 15 kids. You have your assignment set up. It's already planned out. Your day is planned out for that assignment. And 15 kids say they don't have to do it because my parents are exempting me. But the paperwork hasn't gone through because, oh, the paperwork can take up to 10 days after the assignment's done, turned into the kid. That's our policy right now. So how would you feel as a parent knowing that your kid doesn't know the assignment and you as a parent don't know what's being taught in that classroom till the day of? And there's no way you're telling me that us teachers walk into school, sit down in our classroom and go, you know what? I'm doing that worksheet today. I'm doing this assignment today. We plan that stuff out well in advance, which means we have the worksheets. We already know what we're doing. And that's how we prepare. That's how my lessons go. I figure that into my time and my allotment. So if I have 15 kids that don't want to do that assignment because the parents are going to exempt them, I also have a school district policy that says any kid that doesn't turn the assignment in on time, I have to enter a 0 for. Now you're again the parent. I load up a 0 because the kid didn't do the assignment because 15 days for the school or 10 days for the school district to decide whether the kid does or does not have to do that assignment. Kid's carrying a 0. How would you react? And as a parent, I'm telling you that this is the most insane thing I've ever heard of. That we would be able to exempt our kids, but we don't require teachers to post their work so that I know what my kids learning or doing. This last, actually 2 weeks ago at the state meeting, at the state legislature, a legislator actually asked an educator that question because of a requirement that they're working on, but it fits good to this discussion real quick. The guy that was doing this program policy asked a teacher, how many times do you go to school and you don't have a lesson plan ready to go? And she said, never. I always have a lesson plan. It's required by the district. And why is it that you can't take the 3.5 seconds to load the assignment up so the parent can see the assignment ahead of time? I don't have time for that. He says, you don't have time for 3.5 seconds for an assignment? She goes, nope, sure don't. That's not what I'm paid for. And I don't think that's true. We get paid to teach and to educate. Part of our thing is to have kids that are college and career ready. There's no college out there doing anything with paper and pencil. It's all posted for the kids to get. So how are we teaching the kids and getting them college ready when we as a district aren't there yet? we taught for 2 years online, strictly online. We still have a policy in our return to learn guide on page 27 that requires teachers 1 day a week has to be done online so that we never, ever have what happened during COVID happen again, where we're unprepared as a school district to educate our children. And so I asked, that means at least 1/4 of every lesson by every teacher should already be online. So where is our defense that we can't require parents to see those assignments beforehand? Now, switching places as a parent, I would be appalled. And I've been appalled that my granddaughter brought home work, and one of the assignment was teaching Johnny Appleseed as part of Western movement. And I had to ask the teacher, what does Johnny Appleseed have to do with Westward movement? This is not part of Westward movement. And the teacher said, well, this is how we keep the kids interested. It wasn't about Western movement. It was about how to keep the kid interested. I get telling the story for history. As a history teacher, everything's a story, but it needs to be accurate. We can't just inject things like Johnny Appleseed or Washington's, wooden teeth or chopping down the cherry tree. Great anecdotes, but to think that that's part of an education background, we can't be teaching kids like that. And as a parent, I would be offended to see that in a lesson, or my kid to come home and say, yeah, here's my assignment. I have to write about Johnny Appleseed. And like I said, I think we need to add something in there that the school district needs to have. The teachers at least post the assignments. And we are more than capable. Our synergy allows that. We have a whole bunch of teachers already doing it. And I'm not going to deny that. We do have a lot of teachers that do it, either through Synergy or Google Classroom. Someplace it's online for those kids to see. But having parents being able to see the assignment is an absolute essential tool right now. With everything that's going on in the world, we should be doing our best to make sure parents have nothing to come back to us as teachers or as a school district arguing that we're harming their kids by not helping them out or by not making ourselves perfectly transparent. And why would we want to, as board or district, have that conversation or have to have it as a volatile one instead of as a personal one with our kids and our parents ourselves at our level instead of at your level here at a meeting? So I'd just like to see that added to that parent notification thing, that instead of after the fact, before the fact. Because like I said, put yourself in a teacher's place of 15 kids saying, I'm exempt, I'm going to be, so I'm not doing that. What are you going to do? And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bear. We have anyone else wishing to address the board tonight? Call to the audience. Okay. Moves us on to reports. Superintendent Dorner is joining us by Zoom tonight. Does not have a report. Any board reports? Anybody, board members? No board member reports, so we'll move on to item number 6. Approval of routine orders of business. Documentation concerning the matters on the consent agenda may be reviewed at the Kingman Unified School District Office, 3033 McDonald Avenue. Any board member may request an item to be pulled off the agenda for further discussions. Do we have any board member wishing to pull any item off of the routine order of business? Okay. Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve routine orders of business.
I'll make that motion. I'll
Got
second.
a motion by board member Weiser, second by board member Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, second reading of change in policies as recommended by ASBA, Arizona School Board Association.
Mr. President, members of the board, policy 739,
This is an exhibit form that ASBA created to obtain parent consent if offering sex education. This supports ARS 15120.3. So on policy 740, this is an exhibit form that ASBA created to keep records of notifying parents 7 days prior to putting a new list of library books on display for the required 60 days. This supports ARS 15-721 and 722. Policy 741, this policy states that as a school district, we must keep foster students in their home school that they were attending when they went into the foster program. Policy 742, this is an exhibit form that ASBA created to gain parent and healthcare professionals' signatures and diagnosis of students who has a chronic health issue. And policy 743, this is an exhibit form that ASBA created for parents to request any information about their child's education and school according to ARS 15102.
Thank you. Any board member comments or questions?
Do we have another way for parents to request the curriculum prior to it being taught?
Yes, on our website, there is a button, if you, it's the only word I can come up with, a link that you can request. You can also request it from any principal as well.
Is that under the parent view?
Boy, I would have to get on there. I'm not positive. I know it's on our website.
Any other comments?
It
or
actually
questions?
goes to our curriculum director, Liz Albin. That form, after you fill it out, it goes straight to her.
Okay,
I'm
yes,
sorry, Mr. Jack. How soon do we have to approve these policies in order?
This is the second reading, so this is approval.
I understand that. I'm just thinking as far as for Arizona statute. Is there a time limit right now?
So these are policies and exhibits that ASBA has already approved.
Mm-hmm.
So our procedure is they approve them and then they go down to the school district and then the schools, you as the board, either approve or not.
This is Superintendent Dorner. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just going to make a comment on this as well. Yeah, these are ASBA recommended policies. So the district can vote to, as Ms. Woolsey said, enact them or not. You can vote each of them individually and you can table them. We can review, we can rewrite. There's a number of routes, but I don't think, Mrs. Woolsey, there's like a date associated with it. It's just a board decision. Until it's changed by the board, it will remain as it is now. And then we either take the ASBA recommended one or we modify it.
Correct. And there's nothing in the ARS that says there's a time limit. You're correct, Dr. Dorner.
So my question is, should we separate that one and
I agree.
take a better look at it?
yes, we could do that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all of the policies except for policy 743. I'd like to table 743 so that we could look at it and possibly get it rewritten so that it has a more proactive approach.
Got a motion by Board Member Grant. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Weiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board President Jax, just
Yes.
as a point of interest for the board to consider, and Mrs. Woolsey has been reading a lot on this lately. There is it a bill, Mrs. Woolsey, that's currently in motion in the legislature where lesson plans may be required to be posted ahead of time. So I might recommend that we watch that bill, if you will, or that proposal to see what happens. Because it's all going to kind of intersect right at some point. And so we can be thoughtful and take our time on that particular policy, I would agree.
That's a good idea. Okay. We finished with item number 7. We're gonna move on to item number 8. Approve new high school course level science and mathematics in the real world.
Mr. President and members of the board, Science and Mathematics in the Real World is a course offered in our online curriculum, which is purchased through Edgenuity. We are asking that the board approve this course for high school students enrolled in our online school, COLA, to earn CTE credit. Students at Kingman High School and Lee Williams High School can also take this course, but for elective credit, since both of our in-person high schools offer a robust CTE program.
Hey, board have any comments or questions?
President Jax, I would like to just make a comment.
Yes, please.
I am all for career-oriented classes for sure. But I did attend the Cambridge event that KHS had, and one of the student presentations, he was very well done, but he was talking about, climate change and some of that as just that's that kind of attitude. And I was wondering if, there's always or a way to make sure that they're looking at both sides. Greener is good, but it's not always the best right now because we don't necessarily know better to do better. And in this description, it talks quite a bit about the greener, and we would just want to make sure that they were also being presented with both sides, not just push for that environmental greener. Does that make sense as to what I'm saying when it comes time for the curriculum and that? Because I think sometimes we can push too hard in one direction and forget that there are still some other options and ways of learning in that. But it mentioned that like 3 times in this little short description. So just wanted to make aware that we should be careful in that area.
Right, I understand your comment that we're showing both sides of the issue.
Any other comments or questions? Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by board member Weiser, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Second by board member Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, approve new high school course level Introduction to Careers in Finance.
Mr. President and members of the board, this is very similar to the previous course. That Introduction to Careers in Finance is also a course offered in our online curriculum purchased through Edgenuity. We're asking that the board approve this course for high school students enrolled in our online school, COLA, for CTE credit. Students at Kingman High School and Lee Williams High School can take this course for elective credit since both of our in-person high schools offer a robust CTE program.
Thank you. Any comments or questions by the board? Any looking for a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion by board member Grant, a second by board member Weiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 10, approve introduction to the instructional time model.
Mr. President and members of the board, we're bringing the instructional time model to the board today for adoption. The instructional time model allows students to take advantage of learning opportunities and instructional pathways outside of the traditional school structure. It also allows for distance learning in the case of a school or district closure. We would like to make one edit to the model that was presented at last month's board workshop. Instead of having the governing board approve each instructional time model opportunity, our model would state that the superintendent would approve these opportunities and then notify the governing board of these instances. Once the KUSD governing board approves the instructional time model, it will be submitted to the state.
That's a nice presentation you made there at the workshop on this particular subject. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions by board members?
I'm very excited about this.
Absolutely. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser, second by Board Member Grant. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, approve extension of contract with Altus Business Services for leased wide area network services for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024.
Mr. President, and members of the board, Altice Business provides our wide area network, which is able to go to all schools except for Mount Tipton due to the location of Mount Tipton, which we have covered under Frontier. So this allows them to provide the lease lines, lease lines provide the district the capability to send data at a higher rate of speed to the internet or to the increased bandwidth. The RFP that we are recently on allows the district to upgrade all sites with a dedicated connection. The renewal would start on July 1 of 2023 with an option to renew for 2 additional years. We ask that you continue with the RFP.
Thank you. Any comments or questions by board members?
Have you found that the service is more stable and that it consistently is faster and doing the needs that we need it to do?
The wide area network one, I'm gonna have Tim help me out on this part. He's my guru.
Hello, President, members of the board. My name is Timothy Gardner. I'm the Director of Technology for KUSD. So the wide area network is just the hardware, the fiber between the schools. It's not the actual internet access, and that is what we are leasing from Altice, Optimum, Suddenlink. So they have built out that themselves, and currently there is no other contender for such built-out network in the KUSD network.
Any other comments or questions?
Yep.
Looking for approval for item number 11.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 11.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Board Member Henry, a second by Board Member Weiser. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, approve awarding a 1-year contract for internet access for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 to ALO Communications.
Mr. President, members of the board, at this time, we went out with our E-rate consultants and we did a 470, which is allows other companies to put in a bid for what they would like to offer for us. So ALO came in at quite, like pretty much half of what Altice or Sunlink can provide for us right now. Of course, they're doing all the construction, which in our point helps us because we don't have to pay for the construction costs where we normally would and have in the past with Altice. So we would like to do a 1-year contract rather than a multiple year contract with ALO, give them a chance, see what they can offer for us. At this point, they are planning on being in service with all of our schools in the Kingman area here by the July 1 date is their plan. If for some reason they're not, we would like to do a month-to-month with Suddenlink until all ALO is ready to go, and then we would jump over to them and finish out the school year. And then at that point, next spring, go for an RFP and let all of them put in a for sure bid and see if we can do a longer contract.
Okay. Any comments or questions by board members?
Yes, thank you for explaining the due diligence process, because that was my question. Just what's the process? So thank you.
No problem.
So we're hoping for better service and a better cost.
Customer service, all of that, yes.
Okay.
Fingers are crossed.
May I ask, what makes you believe that they will be better than Suddenlink, other than the price?
We are hopeful. Right now, they've talked with Tim a little bit. This is the first area in the Arizona that they've come to. They're more of a Midwest business, but they're really getting out here. They're eager to kind of make things work. And so we're hoping for the best. And that's kind of why we want to continue, kind of have that backup with Suddenlink. We know they're always here, but they have not provided the best in the last couple of years. So we're going to try ALO and see if we can get a good change there.
And they have good references from where they're coming from
Yes.
in their service.
That is correct. This is just their first outing into Arizona, so we don't really have anything Arizona-based to reference. And as Donette was stating, that's why we want to do the month-to-month with Altice in case anything does go wrong.
But one of the benefits then would be the fact that they're bringing in new equipment right now and they're paying for it versus what old stuff Suddenlink's been using.
Correct. Right now, Allo has offered us a monthly for 10 GB, $2,290. And Altice is at $5,060 for only 5 GB. So we're really increasing speed and half the price.
Wow.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Looking for a motion to approve on item 12.
Make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser, second by Board Member Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 13, approve revised budget for FY 23.
Mr. President, members of the board, the district presents a revised expenditure budget that accounts for our 100-day enrollment, or the ADM, the Arizona state minimum wage increases and raises approved by the board that went into effect as of December 25th, 2022. The revised budget ADM increased to 6,608.0583, an increase of roughly 56 students. There is also an increase of weighted student counts of 130.0331, which greatly helps our budget capacity. With these increases, we have added $1,192,877 to our revision, $347,170 to M&O, $845,707 to capital. There is a potential for a May revision dependent on the spending habits and anything required by the state.
That's a great board budget workshop that you put on. A really great handout.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions or comments by board members?
I did have a question, not in a negative way. Just on page 12 where it says proposed staffing summary, there's a category that says other. And I just was curious as to what is included in the other.
One second.
What types of staffing?
On the bottom of the page, does it say like page?
Yeah, it was page 12. Oh, it says page 2 of 2.
Okay.
But it has like certified and then superintendent, principals, administrators, teachers, others, then classified, management, supervisors, directors, teaching aides, and then other. I was just curious. Is it bus drivers? Is it?
I would have to do some digging to know for sure, but I can definitely get you that answer.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
I can't remember the acronym, but when we were talking about the cap that was put on, did that actually get finalized with the legislature that they were going to?
The
did.
AEL, correct.
Yes.
So it got passed this last month. So it's no longer in effect this year. It will then be again revisited in the fall for next year.
Okay, so they did a stopgap.
Correct.
Yep.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the revised budget.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser, second by Board Member Grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 14, approve listed of donations.
As usual, we would like to approve all of the wonderful donations that so many people are giving.
Yes.
We always are in need. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Board Member Weiser, second by Board Member Grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 15. Possible action to approve the language of employment contracts and at-will notices for the 2023-2024 school year.
Mr. President and members of the board, district staff worked in collaboration with the district's attorneys to review and modify the employment contracts and notices for the 2023-24 school year. In total, we brought for you tonight 6 contract templates. The proposed language for 2023-24 is substantially similar to current year contracts. The most significant changes are outlined in the memo to the governing board, but I'll just highlight a couple pieces. All contracts and notices now show the signature of the governing board president rather than the superintendent. This is a recommended change to the district's practice that reflects the sole authority of the governing board to hire and terminate employees. Additional language has been added to the funding and possible reductions clause in the certified administrator, certified and term contracts, as well as the at-will notice. The language permits with more specificity raises or salary adjustments during the contract term. Modifications were made to the conditional contract clause of the certified employment contract. This clause is specific to the contract being contingent upon the employee furnishing and maintaining all required documentation and certification for the position as required by law and also district policy. Modifications were also made to the at-will notice for classified employees. More specifically, language was added that the contract shall be governed by the laws of the United States and the state of Arizona, together with the district policies, rules, and regulations now in force or as they may be modified. And this is consistent with language that's included in the other contracts. We also added a new contract form this year for substitute employees called Reasonable Assurance for Substitute Employees. This new notice describes the nature of at-will substitute work, the conditions of employment, among other important information. District staff are recommending the governing board approve the district's 2023-24 contract forms as amended and presented in board members' packets. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And this all went through our lawyers, Huffman and Horseman, and got their blessing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Comments or questions? Okay, looking for a motion to approve item 15.
Make the motion to approve the new contracts.
I'll second.
Got a motion by board member Henry, a second by board member Weiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, possible action on a recommendation to terminate the employment of Cecilia Rosales, teacher effective January 19th, 2023, for reasons stated in the confidential memorandum to the governing board.
Mr. President and members of the board, staff originally brought this matter to the governing board members at the February 14, 2023 meeting. We're now bringing it back to you. For reasons stated in the confidential memo to the governing board, staff is recommending termination of Cecilia Rosales' employment effective January 19, 2023.
Any comments or questions by board members? Look for a motion to terminate the employment of Cecilia Rosales, teacher effective January 19th, 2023, for reasons stated in the confidential memorandum to the governing board.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by board member Grant,
I'll second it.
second by board member Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, possible action on a recommendation to approve the release from contract of Joseph Dorner, teacher, with the recommendation that liquid damages be waived for reasons stated in the confidential memorandum to the governing board.
Mr. President and members of the board, in keeping with past recommendations made by staff to the governing board, if a suitable replacement has been identified, staff has recommended the governing board request the release from contract. So in keeping with that, staff are recommending the governing board approve the request of Joseph Dorner to be released from the remainder of his 2022-23 employment contract effective February 19, 2023, without the imposition of a liquidated damages fee.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Now, I would just like to say thank you for what the work it looks like that he did to make the transition smooth. So I would like to say thank you to him.
And that is the feeling. Just wanted you all to know that.
Okay.
Looking for a motion to approve the release from contract of Joseph Dorner, teacher, with the recommendation that liquid damages be waived for the reasons stated in the confidential memorandum to the governing board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Board Member Henry, second by Board Member Weiser. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Item 18, possible motion to move into an executive session per Arizona Revised Statute 38-431-03 regarding request by Joseph Walker to release from the remainder of his FY 2022-23 employment contract.
Mr. President and members of the board, if you wish to have additional conversation about this matter, I do believe Mr. Walker is present here this evening and does hope to have the opportunity to present you with some information as well as what staff has presented within the governing board memo.
Okay, so we will move into an executive session. So I will need a motion to move into an executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we will move into an executive session. We'll hold it in the conference room next door. And then we'll come back into session afterwards. To reconvene into a regular session for any action resulting from the executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser, second by Board Member Grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President,
This will be item number 20.
Mr.
Possible
President,
action on request by Joseph Walker to be released from his FY 2022-23 employment contract effective April 4th, 2023. Board Member Grant.
I would like to make a motion to direct staff to work with Mr. Walker on a suitable, mutually beneficial transition plan for the remainder of the school year. In addition to that, I recommend staff bring back a subsequent recommendation on Mr. Walker's request to be released from employment.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Board Member Grant, a second by Board Member Weiser. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 21, possible motion to move into an executive session for Arizona Revised Statute 38-431-03 regarding personnel action concerning Janet Belton.
Mr. President and members of the board, you have the option to move into an executive session if you'd like to discuss additional details regarding Ms. Belton. She has chosen not to be here this evening.
Any comments or questions by any board members?
No.
Okay, looking for a motion to recommend terminate the employment of Janet Belton, bus monitor, effective March 14th, 2023, for reasons stated in the confidential memorandum to the governing board.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion
Second.
by Board Member Henry, got a second by Board Member Grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And we don't need item 22. And we have taken action on item 23. So that moves us to adjourn. Do I have a recommendation to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion by Board Member Weiser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Henry. We are adjourned.